Good afternoon, good evening to East Central Missouri and the world, and welcome to the James Strong Show podcast, podcast number 266. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making us a part of your day. I appreciate it. This podcast was recorded on the morning of Saturday, April the 30th, from the James Strong studio in Western St. Charles County. The topic of today's podcast, I'm going to give you the title of what I'm calling today's podcast. And it should pique your interest. The title is, The New York Times Says God is Dead and the War has Begun, ? Now, those famous lyrics were written by Bernie Taupin for the song Madman Across the Water, the Elton John song. But it kind of rings true to what's going on today. And I prefaced that statement with a question mark. In other words, it's not a statement. It's a question. Today's essay asks that question of you, dear listener, and suggests that you put thought into that question as to how today's news affects our lives. Before we get to that rather stoic topic, a few things going on in the news today. Amazon. Everybody buys everything on Amazon, right? I do. We have Amazon Prime. We buy a ton of stuff on Amazon. Amazon lost money in the first quarter of 2022. They hadn't done that in many, many, many years. Many people, yours truly included, says, look, Amazon, they just print money. They make money hand over fist. They can't lose. Not only can they lose, but they did lose first quarter 2022. They're losing revenue. Their profit margins are going down. They've had to pay more people, more money, and their sales are off a bit. That's not a good combination. How are they going to make up that difference? Well, they've already started, and let me explain to you how. If you're not bringing in enough money, you need to bring in more money, and your sales are down. What's the only other way to bring in money if you cannot cut expenses? That's right, raise prices. I buy a lot on Amazon because of the convenience, and I always price shop, and usually stuff on Amazon is about the same price as Walmart, and that's what I compare it to. Walmart's always the price leader, okay? And if it costs the same as Walmart, why would you just not do it from your armchair? Why would you get up, go to the store, go through the sideshow that is Walmart, get in line, do your own checkout, and pay the same? Why would you do that? Well, guess what? The prices aren't the same anymore, at least when I compared them. I was out of a couple of things, had to go pick them up. And it has to do with my exercise routine. I have a pre-workout and a post-workout drink that I take before I exercise and after I exercise, okay? Helps give you the energy to get yourself through the workout, and the recovery drink helps you so your muscles don't hurt so much at the end, okay? I was out, so I needed to get some. Price comparison. The pre-workout drink was about $1 more on Amazon than Walmart. $16 versus $15, roughly. Okay, $1. Well, you got to get in a car and use your own gasoline anyway, so what's $1? The post-workout drink, over $26 versus just over $19, a $7 difference. So to order those two things on Amazon was an additional $8. $8. Friends, that's a lot of money. $8 on something that together cost $34. $8, what is that? Roughly 20%? A little more than 20% more. It's a lot. That's a lot. Why would anyone pay 20% more on Amazon than they would at Walmart? Well, again, you may say, well, Strong, you just said it. You don't want to go to Walmart into that sideshow that is Walmart. Well, I was up at 4:30 this morning. I just went to Walmart at 6 when they opened, and the sideshow had not yet begun. You say, well, Strong, you still had to make the trip, and that's $7 usage of your car. Well, it is, but Walmart's not that far away, and there were other things that I needed that I couldn't get online, specialty items. So I was going to have to go anyway. Bottom line is, look long and hard at Amazon, folks, because it's not the deal that it once was. And it's not even the convenience that it once was. I can't tell you how many times I've ordered something on Amazon. They say, hey, we'll deliver that thing before the end of business today. That's never happened. They're a day late. Or we will give that to you the next day. And it happens the second day. Well, if you order without Amazon Prime, you're going to get it the second day anyway. So their prices are going up and their service is going down. Amazon needs to get their act together. Story number 2, Elon Musk. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, and not because I believe in some of the dopey things that he says, because a lot of stuff he says, I think he just runs his mouth just because he wants to. But I've said this before. Elon Musk is the Thomas Edison of our time. He's on another plane when it comes to being smart. There's 2 ways to succeed in this world. Be smarter than the next guy or work harder than the next guy. And he does both. Now, his personal life is a mess, but you can't deny the fact that the guy works his tail off, and he's smarter than maybe anybody else in the world. Except for he just bought Twitter for $44 billion. Okay? And says, I'm going to fix Twitter. Oh, and I'm going to get rid of all the advertising on Twitter. Well, friends, advertising on Twitter makes up about 80% of its revenue. So how is he going to pay for it? Maybe you say he's not. He's just going to go ahead and fund it and do what he wants. $44 billion is a lot to spend on a toy. Something's going on there. I don't know what it is. I guess I just have to say that if Elon Musk really is smarter than me and you, maybe he knows something that you and I don't. But as of today, I can't tell you what it is. Speaking of business, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. Berkshire Hathaway is trying to dump Warren Buffett from the head of Berkshire Hathaway. And I don't know why. And again, these captains of industry do things that I have no idea why they do it. And why do I say I have no idea why? Well, I mean, Warren Buffett is 117 years old. Maybe they just want to get the old man out of the way. You also see what's been happening in the stock market. Depending on the indicator, the market is down anywhere from 6 to 10% year to date, depending on which barometer you use, whether you're looking at NASDAQ or S&P or Dow Jones. Berkshire Hathaway is up 10% for the year. Now, if he has beat the market by that much, why in God's name would they want to get rid of him? Once again, there may be something going on here that I don't know. On the lighter side, let's talk a little bit about baseball. Not the St. Louis Cardinals, but let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds. Okay, they're in the Cardinals division, National League Central. And the Reds have a lot of tradition, a lot of baseball tradition. The Big Red Machine of the 1970s went toe-to-toe, head-to-head a lot with the Oakland A's and other teams. They were just fantastic. Today, they're horrible. They're awful. They're 3-17 this year. And their first baseman, their all-star, their best player, Joey Votto, he wants out. Says he doesn't want to be on a bad team. It's embarrassing the way the team plays. Here's the only, and it's true, by the way. They are horrible. They are embarrassing. The team is playing bad. And Votto is traditionally a good player. However, Joey Votto is batting 129. So this is the guy without a broken window in his house throwing rocks at others. Okay. Hey, newsflash. If you're supposed to be the star on the team, why don't you start hitting and contributing instead of just complaining about how bad the team is? Oh, yeah. And Joey Votto will make $25 million this year. The Cincinnati Reds year to date have paid him $218 million. By the time his contract is over with in 2024, they will have paid him $263 million. And you're crying about the team being bad? Joey Votto is the ultimate. When we look at him, he's the ultimate case of saying, I was sad for I had no shoes till I met that man who had no feet. Joey Votto, if this is horrible to you, I have no words. Topic of today's essay. I mentioned at the start of the podcast. The New York Times says God is dead and the war has begun, ? From the iconic words of Bernie Taupin. I copied them. I stole them. I used them. Okay. The world today is in a bad way. We live in interesting times. Okay. I've said that. I've said that all my life because, truth be told, we always live in interesting times if you think about it. But today, even more so. In fact, today, maybe really interesting times. Interesting on the teetering on the brink of scary or even terrifying. William Tecumseh Sherman, the great Union Civil War general, said war is hell. He's the one who coined that phrase. And he should know. His scorched earth MO through the South, in particular through Atlanta, was telling. And Southerners would agree. William Tecumseh Sherman was the devil himself. So he would know that war is hell. And we have a war today. We always have war. But today we have war in the Ukraine. And you may ask yourself, and I've heard people ask this question. I will also say I have heard people whose opinion I do not pay much attention to ask this question. Why is this war different from the other wars, like in Afghanistan and Iraq and Vietnam and Rwanda, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Here's why. Because it's in Europe. I can hear some of you out there saying, "Oh, okay, so white people are involved. That's the only way. We don't care. We'll kill the Arabs and the Asians and the blacks, but we don't want to kill the Europeans." No, that's not it at all. Look at the last 2 European wars. How did they turn out? They turned out into devastating world wars that didn't kill thousands, didn't kill hundreds of thousands, didn't kill millions, killed tens of millions of people, tens of millions of deaths. That is what happened during the last 2 European wars. And the reason being is because there's more at stake in that war. The Rwandan war, sure, that was horrible. But it was a bunch of poor people with machetes hacking one another up, okay? I'm not trying to belittle it, but there was little at stake. So because there's so little at stake, the Western world didn't care. Rwandans cared. Sure they did. But the people in the West didn't care because it really didn't affect them. This war affects those of us in the West. And virtually everybody listening to the sound of my voice, except for you folks in India, are not part of the West. I get that. But what the rest of us are. Now, earlier this week, Vladimir Putin said to the West, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but basically what he said earlier this week is, keep it up, expand your involvement in this war, and I will nuke you. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. Okay? And it was backed up by his spokesperson. Some reporters said, well, what did you mean by that? And the spokesperson said, oh, basically what he means is we will nuke you if you go ahead and escalate this war any further. Again, I'm paraphrasing. And it got some press. That's a huge statement to just get some press, isn't it? Now, Most experts believe that Putin isn't bluffing. I've read